cuties, my name is Paola from Paola, and today we are going to be talking about the number one method that you need to improve in your life in order to be productive. Now, I know it might sound a bit pretentious, maybe, to say that there is just one method that will make you productive. But trust me, since I have been using it, I have noticed a huge improvement in my productivity, which is why I want to share it with you. This method can help you be productive in your study or work life, honestly, and it's just so simple yet so effective in my opinion. But without further ado, because who likes long intros, the method is called the Ivy Lee method, named after a productivity consultant, obviously called Ivy Lee, if you couldn't tell. This method has actually quite a long history because I think it was first talked about around 1918 when Ivy Lee was hired for a very huge corporation that wanted to improve the productivity of their employees. So the CEO hired him and it was like, I want my employees to work more. And this guy was just like, no worries, I got you, bro. Actually, there's a funny story behind, because Ivy Lee decided to not receive any payment and asked the CEO of the corporation to call him back after 3 months to see if there was actually an improvement in productivity. And obviously there was. So the CEO, after 3 months, I think he gave him like a very huge paycheck. So let's break down this method, shall we? The method in itself is really simple, and it consists of only 5 parts. Part 1, at the end of your work day or just at the end of your day, so before just going to bed, write down the most important 6 tasks that you have to accomplish for the day after. Do not write more than 6 tasks. It can be less, but I wouldn't recommend doing more. Second part can happen depending on your preferences. Either right after you write down the tasks, so either in the evening or the morning after, so just before the time when you actually have to sit down and start doing stuff. And this second part just consists to prioritize in a scale from 1 to 6 which tasks are more important. So basically, after writing 6 things down, you actually just rearrange them in an order from most important to least important. It can be according to deadlines, or if tasks are due the same day, you get to decide which one you think is more important or maybe will take you more time to finish. But the third and most important step starts the morning of. So when you wake up after writing down your 6 tasks and having prioritized them, you wake up in the morning and you just focus on the first task forever. I mean, not forever, up until you have finished it though. And I know what you're already thinking, but bear with me for a second. The fourth part consists of just doing the same thing over and over again. So when you're finished your first task, after having focused purely on that one task, you move on to the second. And for this method, it does not matter if you haven't finished all 6 tasks that you had previously written, because at the end of the day, you can just move any unfinished tasks into the list for the following day and probably prioritizing them more than the new ones that you're gonna write. And the last part is to just repeat it up until you die. No, I'm kidding. Maybe that's a bit too much. We don't want to be as productive. But seriously, that's it. That's the Ivy Lee method explained very quickly. I love using the Let It Snow cup in March. And now, I know you might be thinking, what the actual fuck, why did I even open this video? And you know I get you, because the method is so simple that I shouldn't be telling you to do this in order to be more productive. But actually, there are a lot of psychological reasons behind the efficiency of this method. So if your question is, does this method actually work, or why does this method work? The answer is very easy. First of all, it's simple. Honestly, you will not find a simpler productivity method. And the thing is, it's just simple enough to work. Because you don't have to put in a lot of extra hours of planning, researching, or whatever is keeping you from actually getting your work done. But on top of that, this method actually forces you to make decisions in a way, which is also why it's very effective. Because at the end of the day, you have to decide the 6 most important items on your to-do list that you really need to accomplish. And by doing that, the night before you actually have to accomplish them, you don't have to think about what to do the morning when you wake up. It's like you wake up and the decision of what you're going to be doing, it's already been made by someone else. But actually that someone is you. So this is very effective because it basically removes the friction of starting something. And when I tell you, I am not really a morning person. I don't really like waking up early in the mornings. But if I have already decided that I have some items that I need to get done, I am a lot more likely to not snooze my alarm 3 times. Because I do want to arrive at the end of the day and check off everything that I finished from my to-do list. Because who doesn't like that serotonin boost of just ticking off the finished task at the end of the day? And if you say you don't like it, you're lying to yourself. But one of the things that I love most about this method is that it actually requires you to single task. In our lovely world, we are just constantly asked to multitask, which, don't get me wrong, can be good for some things, but for most students like me, multitasking while studying, responding to emails, it is not going to make you retain information. Or if you're already working and you have a task to complete, multitasking might lower the quality of the work that you're doing. So yeah, that was the Ivy Lee method in a nutshell, honestly. As I said, this method is really simple. So if you think that this method might be a bit too simple for you, here are some maybe adds-on that you can add to this method to make it even more effective. In this list there are a couple things that I've used in the last 2 months along with this method, and let me tell you, it has made my mornings so much more productive. So the first thing to consider is if you have maybe tasks that have a specific deadline very far away in the future. Because it's very easy to forget those, but maybe it's a lot of work, so you never put it in your list because you think, oh, but it's so far away, I don't have to prioritize that, I have other things to do. And then you arrive the night before and you're like, shit, I haven't done anything for it, and it's gonna take me like 1 night. Which we all know we can do, but maybe it's not the best method. So my tip for tasks that have a deadline very far away in the future is to actually take the task and maybe break it down somehow. If you have, for example, like an essay to do, decide for which day you are going to write the introduction. Let's say I have an essay due in 2 months. By the end of these first 2 weeks, I'm gonna have the introduction done. Then, after again 3 weeks, I want to have the main body. Just breaking down bigger tasks can really help you prioritize them better. My second tip would be to select a time that works for you. Because we cannot be productive all day every day. So if you're an early bird or a night owl, I do not care. Just select a time when you say, okay, I'm going to try and study, or I'm going to try and work on these things at this specific time. And try to have as little distractions as possible around you, if applicable, obviously. And when you sit down during that time, as I said before, just start with the first task on your list and don't move on up until you have finished it. Another little thing that you can add on to this would be to actually time block your day. as much as you can, obviously, and giving yourself plenty of breaks. And this is actually something that has worked wonderfully for me because, as I said before, I don't like waking up early in the morning. But if I said that at 9 I have to do a specific task, bitch, I will wake up before because at 9 I need to be sitting down doing that task. And the more you do it, the more you'll actually realize how much time it will take for you to accomplish a specific task. So in the evening, when you're actually writing down the new list for the day after, you might also want to write down next to it the time that you think it's going to take for you to finish that task. Because once you have it, you can put it in your calendar, and that way you can plan your day with the 6 things that you want to get done. Another little advice that I can give you is to use the Pomodoro technique if that's something that helps you. I personally never use it because I think doing study sessions or work session of 25 minutes and then a break for 5 really interrupts my workflow. But again, maybe you've never heard of the Pomodoro technique. So in case, that's something you can use. And I'll leave some articles in the description below so you can learn more about it. And my last advice for today would be to set aside some time for administrative tasks, such as replying to emails or actual meetings that you have. And when I say set aside, I mean actually put down replying to emails or a specific meeting that you have to do in your task list, because they are as important as everything else. And if you have it on your list, maybe you can prioritize replying to emails every morning as a first thing. Obviously, if you're like expecting an important email, you can check throughout the day. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but just be aware of the time that you spend doing it and try not to interrupt your workflow because you're just thinking, oh, I haven't checked my emails in a while, wait, let me do it. Because then you're interrupting the single task that you were working on, which is not good for this method. And actually, I think just in general, honestly. So yes, I think that was everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, just don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment. If you actually decide to try this technique, let me know how it works for you in the comments. As usual, thanks so much for watching. Please stay safe, drink lots of water, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye!